siyang hinihingi ng Panginoon. Siya po ay nilalang a man after God's own heart. So sa umaga po ngayon, ng pag-aaralan po natin muli, patungkol po muli kay David po. Familiar naman po tayo lahat sa susunod pong part ng kwento niya. Saan po yung slides po natin? So ang title po ng pag-aaralan po natin ngayong umaga ay Felling the Giants in Your Life. Ang ating text po dyan ay sa Book of 1 Samuel chapter 17. Ang ngayon po, again, David and Goliath, familiar na po tayo dyan, di ba? Sino na po ba sa atin ang nakakita na po ng higante? Siyempre, malamang wala pa po sa atin, di ba? Pero malamang po sa iba sa atin dito, may mga lamig na tayo. Dito sa Philippines, at least ang pinakamadaling reference natin ng higante, mga basketball player po. Nung college po ako dati sa UP, nanonood ako ng UAA games. Pag pinapanood ko sila sa court, mukha lang silang mga normal na tao. Pag hindi naman sila mukhang malaki. Pero kapag naging kaklase mo sila sa loob ng classroom, makikita mo kung gano'n talaga sila kalaki. Gano'n ka talaga kaliit. Makikita mo na, ako nakita ko po yung sarili ko hanggang balikat lang siguro nila. Nakakapangliit po eh. Bagay, tingin mo sa sarili mo, lalaki ka, diba? Tapang ka, matipuno ka. Mas makakita ka lalaki, mas malaki sa'yo. Nakakapangliit po. Pero of course po, yung mga nangingit natin ganitong tao, usually, mga friendly giants naman po yan. Baga, friendly giants, hindi ka naman nila sasaktan. Pero itong namin po ni David ay si Goliath. Tumayo po muna tayo, basahin po natin ang Book of 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 1 to 11. Dito po namin ni David si Goliath. Sabi po dito, 1 Samuel 17 verse 1, the Philistines gathered their troops for battle. They assembled at Soko in Judah. They camped in Ephs-Dammim between Soko and Azekah. Saul and the Israelite army assembled and camped in the valley of Elah, where they arranged their battle lines to fight against the Philistines. The Philistines were standing on one hill and the Israelites on another hill, with the valley between them. Then a champion came out from the camp of the Philistines. His name was Goliath. He was from Gath. He was close to 7 feet tall. He had a bronze helmet on his head and was wearing scale body armor. The weight of his bronze armor was 5,000 shekels. He had bronze shin guards on his legs, and a bronze javelin was slung over his shoulders. The shaft of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and the iron point of his spear weighed 600 shekels. His shield bearer was walking before him. Goliath stood and called to Israel's troops, "Why do you come out to prepare for battle? Am I not the Philistine, and are you not the servants of Saul? Choose for yourselves a man, so he may come down to me. If he is able to fight with me and strike me down, we will become your servants. But if I prevail against him and strike him down, you will become our servants and will serve us." Then the Philistines said, "I defy Israel's troops this day. Give me a man so we can fight each other." When Saul and the Israelites heard those words of the Philistine, they were upset and very afraid. These are the words of the Lord. Mari po tayo maupo. Salamat po. So again po, some of us may have met giants po, di ba? Parang sa kwento po natin kanina, pero again po, those are friendly giants. But some of us also, right now, may be living with hostile giants. O kagaya po ni Goliath na hostile na higante na gusto kong saktan. Next slide po please. Like Goliath, our giant is arrayed in full battle gear and taunts us to stand against it. Yung higante pong kasama natin, hinahamon tayo. Lagi tayong iniinis araw-araw. Minamaliit tayo. We feel powerless against this monster. We are held captive by it. Isipin niyo mo parang daga tayo, tapos pusa siya. Hawak-hawak tayo, wala tayong control. Napaka-helpless po natin. Ano po ba itong giant na ito? This giant is sin. So some of these sins po that may be confronting us. Sa next slide po, please. It could be the sin of lust, being addicted to pornography, sexual immorality, homosexuality, alcoholism, addiction, greed, workaholism. Sama din po yun, di ba? Workaholic. Although yung kabaliktaran po ay mali din naman po yung katamaran. Self-centeredness. So these are some of the giants that could be confronting us. We can name 100 other giants po, our own personal giants that we are confronting. Examples lang po ito. Whatever the giant's name, ano man po ang pangalan ng higanteng kaharap nyo, these giants hinder the progress of God's people. So parang si Goliath po, di ba? Si Goliath po, nakita po natin yung binasa natin kanina, di ba? Mayroon pong armies yung Israelites, merong armies yung Philistines. Ngayon po sa pagkaka-describe pala kanina, merong valley sa pagitan nila. So yung isang kampo nandito sa burol, yung kabilang kampo sa kabilang burol. Kung sinong unang bababa dyan, kailangan uphill yung laban niya, so mas mahirap. Ngayon po, hindi sila naghaharap dahil ganun nga yung sitwasyon nila. Ngayon lumabas si Goliath at siya yung nanghamon sa kanila. So, like Goliath po, these giants that is sin hinder the progress of God's people. They are confronting us. So how will we fell these giants so that we can live in freedom and victory and joy in the Lord's service? To fell the giants in life, we need three things: spiritual perspective, practical faith, and the deliberate focus on God's glory. So una po, to fell the giants in life, we need a spiritual perspective. Goliath po, isa lang siya, di ba? Kung nakita po natin kanina, may Philistine army, may Israelite army. So, may kanya-kanyang army naman kayo. Si Goliath, isang tao lang siya. Bakit siya problema? Di ba? So, ngayon po, Goliath po is a symbol for us. Goliath is a single problem, but he threatened to undo the entire nation of Israel. But just for a second po, let's try to imagine what Goliath looked like. Sa binasa po natin yung verse kanina, ang sabi doon, 7 feet tall siya. Pero, actually 7 feet po, di ba? Hindi naman ganun katangkad yun. Meron mga basketball player na ganun katangkad eh. In some translations po, ang naging sukat po ay more than 6 cubits. At ang conversion po nun, sa mga measurement po natin ngayon, 9 feet tall. Gano'n po ba katangkad ang 9 feet? Kanina po nakita ko ni nanay, hawak ko yung phone ko, parang pinipicturean ko yung pader. Actually, sinusukat ko po yun. Ang 9 feet po, mula sa sahig, hanggang dyan po, sa bakal na yan. Itong eye na to, sa ibabaw po ng fan, gano'n po katangkad ang 9 feet tall. So, let's imagine po kung si David po, average height kasing tangkad ko, hanggang doon lang po ko sa saksakan, or yung Christmas ornament. Tapos si Goliath, ganun po katangkad. Ganun po ang 9 feet tall. Yung armor po niya, kanina, yung mga measurement kasi, panahon po nila yun. Pero sa conversion po nito, yung armor niya po, ang timbang ay 125 pounds or 56 kilos. Di ba po ang isang sako ng bigas na 50 kilos? Kaya naman po natin buhatin yun, di ba? Isang tao, kaya naman. Pero imagine, gagawin mong armor, ganun kabigat, 50 kilos, suot-suot mo yun, nalabang ka. Yung tip po ng sibat niya, meron siyang sibat, di ba? May patalim po sa dulo yun. Yung tip lang po nun, 6.8 kilograms. Sa mga nag-gym po dito, familiar naman siguro kayo sa gano'ng kabigat yung mga dumbbell. So kung meron kayong dumbbell na 7 kilograms, kaya naman buhatin yun. Pero ilagay nyo sa dulo ng sibat yun. Yun yung patalin nyo sa dulo ng sibat. Di ba napakabigat po nun? So again po, Goliath was a single problem, but he threatened to undo the entire nation of Israel. Ganun din po yung kasalanan sa buhay natin. Yung sin po na giant na humaharap sa atin, na tinaharang tayo. Na ngayon, To fell the giants in life, we need a spiritual perspective. Kita po natin dito sa 1 Samuel 17 verse 25. Sabi po dito, "The men of Israel said, 'Have you seen this man who is coming up?'" Yan po ay opinion po ng mga tao based on their human perspective. "Have you seen this man?" Nakita niyo ba siya? 9 feet, ganong katangkad. Doon sila nakafocus. Sabi din ni Goliath, 17 verse 8, "Am I not the Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul?" Next slide po, please. Pero sa perspective po ni David, ito po yung spiritual perspective. Sabi ni David, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he defies the armies of the living God?" Nakita niyo po yung difference doon? Yung difference ng perspective nila. For David, Goliath isn't just the Philistine, he is the uncircumcised Philistine. And the Israelites are not only the servants of Saul, they are the armies of the living God. Ito din po. Yung malamang ang naging opinion po ng mga Israelite army nung nakita na si Goliath, he's so big, we can never kill him. Ang laki-laki niya, paano natin papatayin yun? Si David naman po, naisip niya, ang laki-laki nun, daling target. He's so big, I can't miss. So if you want to fell some Goliath in your life, you must begin by calling it what God calls it. You will not conquer it if you do not see things from God's perspective. So kay David po, di ba, nakita niya doon, hindi po ito bastang si Goliath lang eh. Nakita niya po ito as a conflict between God and the forces of evil. Ang talagang kalaban po ni Goliath dito, ang talagang hinahabol niya, ay ang Diyos. Because he was taunting the armies of the living God. Now again po, napansin niyo tinawag ni David na uncircumcised si Goliath. Sa panahon po natin, parang pang-asar lang po yung tawagin ng ganun eh, di ba? Parang sabihin sa'yo, matapang ba yun? Supot nga yun. Di ba? Pang-asar lang sa atin ngayon yun eh. Hindi ganito ang ano eh. So parang ganun ba yung kay David nun? Tinawag niya, laki-laki nun, 9 feet, pero supot naman yun. Ganun po ba ibig niya sabihin doon? Hindi po pang-aasar yung ginagawa ni David doon. Because po ito po ang meaning ng uncircumcised. To be uncircumcised was to be outside of the Abrahamic covenant and the promised blessings of God. So, yung circumcision po was a sign of God's covenant. Saan po ba nabubuhay yung mga Israelite po nung panahon na ito? Nung panahon po na ito, sila po ay nabubuhay sa lupay ng Canaan. Dito po sa Canaan, yung mga taong nakatira dito, mga morally corrupt po sila. Sodom and Gomorrah, nasa Canaan po yun. Alam naman po natin yung kwento po ng Sodom and Gomorrah po, hindi po ba? So, nasa peak po sila ng kanilang immorality. Every variety of sexual sin was rampant. So God wanted His covenant people to be morally pure and holy, set apart unto Him. So yun po ang inutos niya kay Abraham, to remove the foreskin of every male as the sign of His covenant with them. The circumcision was a sign of God's covenant. Now, have you ever wondered po bakit circumcision po ang ginawang sign ng Panginoon na covenant po with His people? Pwede namang sabihin niya sa mga tao niya, lahat ng Israelite suot ng hikaw. So yan, symbol yan ng covenant natin. O kaya magpatato kayo, di ba? Lagay mo dyan, God, Jesus. Di ba pwedeng gano'n na lang po yung symbols? Bakit po kailangang circumcision? Isang reason po dyan is, again po, God wanted His people to be morally pure. Diba? They were living in Canaan, a land of immorality. Ang ngayon po, if any Israelite man was going to engage in immorality, ano po ba ang gagamitin niya? Ano po ba yung ari niya? So ngayon po, kapag mag-engage siya in immoral conduct with the pagan, very awkward po yun, di ba? Parang makikita ng pagan, ano yan? Tapos kailangan niya pang i-explain na, ayan, symbol yan of my covenant with God. Di ba nakakahiya po yun? So, yun po ay constant reminder po sa kanila. It was a practical and graphic reminder of their covenant with God. So, nung tinawag po ni David na uncircumcised si Goliath, again po, hindi niya bastang sinasabi lang na itong higante na to na support. Hindi po ganon. Sinasabi niya, itong si Goliath is outside the covenant of God. He is an immoral pagan. Tapos siya yung nagtoton sa armies of the living God. Hindi po pwede, di ba? Yun po yung tinutulan po ni David dito. So dito po, makita natin, if you want to fell some Goliath in your life, you must begin by calling it what God calls it. You will not conquer it if you do not see things from God's perspective. For any problem you want to name, the world has a euphemistic label that makes it sound okay. So sa mga kasalanan po na kinakaharap po natin, meron pong euphemistic names po ang sanlibutan para dyan. Unang example po natin is anger. Sa next slide po please. Anger. Tawag na po ng sanlibutan minsan dyan na naiksi yung litsa niya. He has a short fuse. Tapos minsan sabihin pa po sa atin, it is emotionally healthy. Diba? Parang punong-puno ka na, ilabas mo. Kasi pag hindi mo ilabas yan, masama yan, mag-i-implode ka. Yun ang sinasabi po sa atin. Versus what does the Bible tell us? Anger is being wrongfully angry toward another person is to murder them. Diba sinabi po yan ng Panginoon na kung galit ka sa kapatiran mo, parang pinatay mo na din siya eh. Next example din po natin, adultery. Tawag po ng sanlibutan dyan, having a fling or an affair. Parang ganda pakinggan lang po eh, diba? Fling lang naman yan. Affair lang yan eh. Parang exciting pa nga po eh, diba? Parang, ano po ba? Ano ba yung fling lang, affair lang? Pero the Bible calls it sin and shows that it will ruin lives and have devastating effects on families. It's called the way of death. Sabi po sa Proverbs 7 verse 26 to 27, do not let your heart turn aside to her ways. Her ways meaning adultery. Do not wander into her pathways, for she has brought down many fatally wounded, and all those she has slain are many. Her house is the way to the grave, and going down to the chambers of death. Isang example din po dyan is homosexuality. The world calls it being gay, or alternative lifestyle. Okay lang, di ba? Alternative lang naman yan eh. You have the choice kung gusto mong straight ka or gusto mong homosexual ka. Okay lang yan. Yun ang sinasabi ng sanlibutan sa atin. Alternative lifestyle lang yan. But what does God say about it? What is the spiritual perspective on this? God says, this is a perversion and an abomination. Abortion din po. What does the world call abortion? Pro-choice, pregnancy termination, pro-choice. Very political po, di ba? Ganda pakinggan. Pregnancy termination, ang terminate lang natin ang pregnancy lang. Kumbaga yung condition lang na buntis siya. Wala tayong pinatay na bata, yung pregnancy lang yung terminate natin. The Bible calls it murder. Alcoholism naman po. The world calls it a disease from which you must recover. The Bible calls it drunkenness, a deed of the flesh from which you must repent. So whatever the problem, if you want to conquer it, the first step is always to do what David did here. Namely, to call it what God calls it, and to call yourself what God calls you. So kay David po, nung nakita niya si Goliath, hindi niya inisip, this is a Philistine champion, great warrior. Ang inisip niya po, this is an uncircumcised Philistine outside the covenant of God. Kaaway ito. Sila David, yung armies of Israel, tinawag silang servants of Saul. Ano sabi ni David? Sabi niya, armies of the living God. In the same way po sa atin, when we are confronted with sin, when we are confronted by these giants, we do not call them by what the world calls them. We call it by what God calls it. We also call ourselves by what God calls us. Sabihin lang ba natin, member ako ng Great Shepherd. Hanggang doon na lang ba yun? No, we are a member of the army of the living God. So that is our starting point po for victory. Pangalawa po, to fell the giants in life, we need a practical faith in the living God. Practical faith po. Ano ba ang practical faith? In short po, it is a faith that is put into practice. So si David po, his kind of faith was not generic. Hindi po yung klase ng faith niya yung mga ibang klase po ng faith kasi ang paniwala parang ganito lang I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. Napakababaw po na faith, di ba? Yung iba naman po, kasabihin, it doesn't matter what you believe, just so you believe. Na-encounter niyo na po ba yan? So, minsan po, sa mga pelikula, makita natin yung mga sundalo, bago sila sumabak sa gera, sabihin ng commander sa kanila, if you have any God, start praying now. Kumbaga, sino man ang Diyos mo, si Allah man yan, o kahit sino man, simula na kayong magdasal. Ganong klaseng faith po ba? Yung faith po ni David was in the living God, not just in any shallow faith po. So makita po natin sa 1 Samuel 17, verse 32. Sabi din po sa Philippians 4:13, I am able to do all things through the one who strengthens me. In other translations po, this is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So sa David po, hindi niya sinabi, nung may ganong situation sila, hindi niya sinabi kay Saul, Saul, trust the Lord. Good luck sa'yo. Ang sinabi po ni David sa verse 32, chapter 17, verse 32, it said, your servant will go and fight this Philistine. Practical po, di ba? Ito po yung faith in practice. Hindi po yung sinabi lang niya, good luck, Saul. God will be with you. Familiar po ba tayo? Hindi po ba minsan meron tayong kapatiran na hihingi ng tulong sa atin? Ano po ang pinagkaiba ng mababaw na faith versus practical faith in this situation po? Ang kapatiran hihingi sa'yo ng tulong, sabihin mo, sige kapatid, pag-pray kita, God will be with you. Yun po yung isang option. Pangalawang option po, put your faith into practice like David did. Sabi po ni David, your servant will go and fight this Philistine. So, kanya sa ganung situation po, yung kapatiran mo may pangangailangan. Putting your faith into practice means putting yourself in that situation and helping your brethren. So yung faith po is put into practice. The two things po about David's faith, this practical faith, it is a faith rooted in personal experience and it is a faith in the living God Himself, not in human methods. David's faith po was rooted in personal experience. I think ilang beses na po natin pag-aralan ito merong lion and bear before Goliath po, di ba? So yan po yung personal experience ni David. Alam niya na kaya niya si Goliath dahil pinagdaanan niya na yung leon at yung oso. Hindi niya po sinabi na sinuwerte lang siya noon. Hindi din niya pinagkakalat na galing-galing ko, nakapatay ako ng leon. Patay ako ng oso, kaya kaya-kaya ko si Goliath. Instead po, he was careful to attribute those victories to the Lord. Sinabi niya lang yung kay Saul na nakapatay siya ng leon at oso as proof po of his faith in the Lord. Sinasabi niya kay Saul na kung paano dati, God saved me from the lion and the bear, He will deliver victory in my hands today by killing Goliath. Versus si Saul naman po, ano po ba yung kay Saul naman? Saul had a track record of partial disobedience. Sa previous slide po, please. 25. Sa 25, number 26 pala, sorry po. So, si Saul po, he had a track record of partial disobedience. Yung partial disobedience po, that is equivalent also to disobedience. Hindi po ba, meron pong inutos dati ang Panginoon kay Saul na lipunin niya yung buong kalaban mo, huwag magtitira, walang survivors. Ginawa ni Saul, sariling diskarte siya. Nagtira siya ng spoils of war. Hindi niya pinatay lahat. So yun po yung kanyang partial disobedience, which is equivalent also to disobedience. Saul was a cultural believer. Si Saul daw po yung tinatawag na cultural believer. Ano po ba yung cultural believer? Mga cultural believer po, makikita natin sila nagsisimba. Sinasabi nila, naniniwala sila sa Diyos. Sa panglabas nilang anyo, mukha silang Kristiyano. Pero yung pananampalataya po nila, yung kanilang faith is not personal and practical because they don't want to confront and deal with their sin. Whenever they face a problem, they mouth religious cliches. Mga cliché lang yung mga linyahan nila, mga one-liner po. Go, the Lord will be with you. Parang yung kay Saul po, di ba? Sinabi niya kay David. Sa verse 37, go, the Lord will be with you. Yung kay Saul po, halos sinabi na lang na kay David, good luck. Parang ganun lang eh. So do we have that kind of personal, practical faith in the living God, which David had? It means that when the lion or bear or giant comes into your life, instead of tolerating it, you recognize that you can't allow it to have its way. You can't live in peaceful coexistence with sin. That's what Jesus meant when He said, Matthew chapter 5 verse 29, sabi po ni Jesus, if your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. It is better to lose one of your members than to have your whole body thrown into hell. So, dito din po, to quell the giants in life, we need a practical faith in the living God. And this is a faith rooted in personal experience, and this is a faith in the living God Himself, not in human methods. David's faith was in the living God, not in human methods. So after po na sinabi ni Saul, go, the Lord will be with you. Nakita po natin kung ano talaga kung saan po naglalagay si Saul ng kanyang faith talaga. After niyang sabihin kay David, go, the Lord will be with you, anong ginawa niya? Pinasuot niya kay David yung armor niya. Yun po yung way ng cultural believer. Again po, di ba, Saul was a cultural believer. So as a cultural believer, we rely on the world's methods, not on the living God. Sinabi po ni Saul kay David, go, the Lord will be with you. Pero ito, just in case, suot mo yung armor ko. Kailangan mo yan. So, you fight the enemy with all of the latest worldly techniques with some religious cliches tacked on to make it sound spiritual. So, minsan po yung giants mo na kinakaharap natin, ganun daw po yung ginagawa natin eh. We rely on our own methods or the world's methods, not in a living faith in the living God. So, for example po, if you are facing the giant of depression, ano po ba ang sasabihin ng world sa atin about this? Depressed ka, baka masyado kang stressed, so you need some self-love. Ganda pakinggan po, self-love, di ba? Bakasyon ka, have a little me time. Diba? Take care of yourself. When in fact po, if you will look within yourself, kali mo kaya ka nade-depress kasi babad na babad ka na pala sa kasalanan. Hindi mo alam, yun ang dahilan kaya ka nade-depress. Nakikita mo yung sarili mo na, at alam mo na kasuklam-suklam kasama ka ng Diyos. Nakaka-depress po yun, di ba? So again po, dito sa kwento po ni David, let's imagine po, sinuot niya yung armor ni Saul, at dahil napakabigat noon, hindi siya makagalaw. Hindi niya kaya. So inubad niya yun. May sariling method po na ginamit si David. Of course, God uses methods din po. Kumbaga hindi lang naman po God will wave His hand and magically solve yung problema natin. Of course, we need methods pa rin. Pero those methods are only secondary. The primary thing is our faith in the living God. So the method David used was consistent with his faith in the living God and with the glory and power of God. David didn't magnify his sling or his own expertise, but rather he magnified the Lord. Sabi po sa 1 Samuel 17 verse 47, sinabi po ni David, "All this assembly will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves." So there is nothing wrong with methods as long as your trust is truly in the living God. Again po, we need these methods po pero our trust is first in God. Number 3 po, to fell the giants in life, we need a deliberate focus on God's glory, not our own. We need a deliberate focus on God's glory, not our own. God's name was bound up with His people, and as long as Goliath, this uncircumcised Philistine, was taunting God's people, God Himself was being taunted. Nung narinig po ni David yung pagtotaunt ni Goliath sa armies of Israel, hindi niya inisip, opportunity ito para maging magaling ako. Opportunity ito para ipakita ko na bayani ako. Ang naging concern niya po was God's glory, not his own glory. We can remember here po, Exodus chapter 20 verse 7. I want to share this with you po. Sabi sa Exodus chapter 20 verse 7, "You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold guiltless anyone who takes His name in vain." So, bakit po nandito tong verse ito? Anong kaugnayan po niyan dyan? Ngayon po, ang usual po nating interpretation dito sa "you will not take the name of the Lord your God in vain" is, huwag mong ginagamit ng baliwala yung pangalan ng Panginoon, hindi po ba? So, for example po, basta mga anywhere po, nag-unique natin yun, sinasabi, "God damn it," gano'n, di ba? So, nagmumurang gano'n, sinasama pa yung pangalan ng Panginoon. Is that taking the name of the Lord in vain? O kaya po yung iba kapag nagulat sila, kunyari, nagmamartilyo sila, nakikita kamay nila, "Jesus Christ!" Ganun pa ang reaction po, di ba? Locally po sa atin, especially po sa mga Catholics po, di ba, ang expression, "Jesus, Maria, Joseph." So, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Is that taking the name of the Lord in vain? Dati po sabi ni Tuti sa akin, buti na lang pala, yung talagang name po ni God ay Yahweh. So, are we taking His name in vain? Yung ganun lang na, "God, damn it, sinama mong ganun?" O somewhat excused ka na kasi hindi mo naman ginamit yung Yahweh. Or ginawa mong expression, "Jesus Christ." Yung name naman talaga ni Jesus is Yeshua. So, excused ka din dahil hindi mo ginamit yung Yeshua. Amen. Yeah, is that it? Really? Nung ngayon po, taking the name of the Lord in vain, in that sense po, yes, tama yun na huwag natin gawin yun. But in another interpretation po, in a deeper interpretation, what is taking the name of the Lord in vain? Nung si nanay po, kinasal kay tatay, ano po ang naging apelido ng aking nanay? Diba, from Gonzales po, naging Marasigan siya. So, ano pong ginawa niya nun? She took her husband's name. Hindi po ba? She took her husband's name. Now, when you take the name of the Lord, that means we are of the household of God. So, we bear the name of the Lord. Paano po yung sinabi ni David kanina dyan na Goliath was taunting the armies of the living God? That is what sin is doing to us. When it is confronting us, it's not just taunting us. Personal lang, sa atin lang, tayo lang yung affected. Hindi po eh. It is taunting God. Because we belong to God. We took the name of the Lord. Ngayon po, dyan sa Exodus 20 verse 7, 10 Commandments po yan, di ba? Yan po yung time na nag-establish na ng covenant ng Panginoon with the Israelite people eh. Sinabi niya sa kanila, "I will be your God and you will be my people." So you are taking my name. Yan po eh. When we take the name of the Lord in vain, when sin is confronting us, when our giant of sin is confronting us, and we let it win, That is taking the name of the Lord in vain. We are letting sin win. So again po, back to Saul po. Saul was more concerned for his own glory than for the Lord's glory. In 1 Samuel 15 verse 12, nagtayo po siya ng monument sa kanyang sarili. Outwardly, he practiced a religion for the sake of a good appearance, but his real motive was his own honor, not the honor of God, who is called the glory of Israel. Now, isang sure mark daw po ng cultural believer na kagaya ni Saul, is kapag yung isang Christian po inaiinggit sa success ng other Christians. Kung paano pong si David ay naging successful, tapos si Saul, imbis na natuwa siya para kay David, nagmaktol pa siya at naiinggit siya. Pero ang talagang makikita po natin doon, si Saul po, he was out for his own glory, not the glory of God. Kasi po, when David defeated Goliath, dapat masaya si Saul nun eh. Kasi itong Goliath na to, yung giant na humarap sa Israelite army, natalo siya eh. So, that is for the glory of God. Kung talagang hindi cultural believer si Saul, matutuwa siya na God's name was vindicated. God's name won. Pero hindi eh. Naiingit siya kay David. Gusto niya, siya yung bida. So this brings us to an important question. Why do you want to fell the giant in your life? Unang possible answer po dyan is to be successful and happy. You want to fell the giant in your life, to be successful and happy. Of course, if you are struggling with depression, if you are struggling with alcoholism, and natalo niyo yun, di ba? You felled that giant. You can now be successful and happy. So is that a good reason? No. You want to fell the giant in your life so people will look up to you and think of you as a good Christian. Maganda nga rin naman po yan, di ba? But still, that is also not enough. You want to fell the giant in your life to build a large ministry and become known as a great Christian leader. No, hindi din po. So, why should we want to fell the giants in our life? Si David po, in 1 Samuel 17 verse 45 to 47, David publicly stated why he wanted to defeat Goliath. Una po, sinabi niya, so that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Gusto niya makita ng unbelievers po that there is a God in Israel. And second, David wanted all the professing believers who weren't really trusting in God to know that the Lord does not deliver by the latest methods, such as swords or spears, but rather the battle is the Lord. So, ito po, 1 Samuel 17 verse 45 to 47. But David replied to the Philistine, you are coming against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I am coming against you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel's armies, whom you have defied. This very day the Lord will deliver you into my hand. I will strike you down and cut off your head. This day I will give the corpses of the Philistine army to the birds of the sky and the wild animals of the land. Then all the land will realize that Israel has a God. And all this assembly will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and He will deliver you into our hand. That is the reason po why we should want to fell the giants in our lives. So that people will know that there is a living God who can deliver us from these giants. And also for our fellow Christians, some of whom may be cultural believers, so they will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's. The reason we ought to desire to fell the Goliaths of sin in our lives is that sin drags God's honor through the mud, and that we truly want God's name to be lifted up and honored through us. Again, do not take the name of the Lord in vain. Diba? God's name is being dragged through the mud when the Goliaths of sin in our lives are winning. Di po ba linya din po yun ng mga magulang kapag may ginawang makakahiya yung anak? Di ba? Hindi ka na nahiya, anak kita. Pati ako. napapahiya dahil sa'yo. Yung pangalan ko nadadamay sa kalokohang ginawa ko. Parang ganun po yan eh. When we take the name of the Lord in vain, by letting the Goliaths of sin in our lives win. So again po, to fell the giants in our life, we need a spiritual perspective, a practical faith in the living God. This practical faith is one that is rooted in personal experience, and it is a faith in the living God Himself, not in human methods. And finally, we need a deliberate focus on God's glory at our own. Thank you po.